take a stand, gonna find a way to change the game. You tell me that I should stay, trust what you say, and that's all okay. But everything starts to feel like a con, and I'm the pawn. Am I right or wrong?
Knock on, everybody. One of my favorite things to do in the springtime is go after spot and stalk black bears with my bow. And this week we're gonna be up in Prince George, British Columbia with Lobo Peak Guides and Outfitters once again. I've been up there more years than I can remember, and each and every year I continue to have success. If you're a bow hunter and you haven't experienced spot and stalk black bears, make sure you give Cody a call at Lobo Peak. You won't regret it. After that, we're gonna do more tech segments, including getting your bow one step closer to drive and tax in that knocked and ready to rock segment. Enjoy the show. We're going to start this episode with the field recon segment because I thought it'd be cool for me to lead by example. So I'm going to walk you through my 5 rules to a successful spot and stalk. I've been fortunate to take dozens of record book black bears from the ground while stalking, so I can assure you that these 5 rules are proven to be lethal. Rule number 1 is play the wind. This rule should really go without saying because the fact is that bears are thought to have the best sense of smell of any animal on earth. For example, a bloodhound, their nose is 300 times better than a human's, whereas a bear's sense of smell is 7 times better than a bloodhound. So it's 2,100 times better than a human's. If you can't play the wind, you simply can't play. Like right here. Busted. Rule number 2 is always have backup. And by this, I mean you need to keep scenery and cover behind you at all times. Having a good background can make all the difference in being seen or slipping in really close for a kill. I like to use the edges, which is what I'm doing right here, to slip in for a shot. Notice how I stay tight to the tree line because this gives you ample cover behind you and makes a huge difference on how you appear to a bear when he has a quick glance. Use a good background and it's game over. Rule number 3 is use a blocker because unlike their noses, a bear's biggest weakness is their eyes. They can see well, but not as well as many animals. Movement is really what grabs their attention. So when stalking, I always use a blocker, which is anything that you can put between you and the bear. If you make a plan or adjust your position so that you can use a tree, a rock, or even a small contour of the land to break up your outline, then you have it made. Rule number 4 is walk like a ninja. My nickname at bear camp up in BC is Barefoot and Dudley, and there's plenty of my old socks and old sneaky feet nailed up as memories to big bears that I shot there while barefooting. I always pack a new set of thick socks or buy sneaky feet when I go up on my spot and stalks. When the time comes of sneaking on a bear, my shoes come off, and that's because I want to get really close. Check out this situation where I actually snuck right by an unknowing bear in order to get to a bigger bear that was further down the field. I stayed light on my feet and I tried to tiptoe or use the sides of my feet to walk, and it's much quieter. Rule number 5 is be fast and be still. And this last rule is all about moving at the right time. When the bears are feeding or they're looking the other way, then that's the time where you need to cover ground. However, if they start to position themselves where you can see their eye, or if they're gradually feeding but then looking around them because they might be a little leery, then that's the time to be still. Picking the right time is going to make all the difference. Otherwise, if their eye can see you and you move, you're busted. Nock On TV is brought to you by Hoyt. Get serious, get Hoyt. Under Armour, always lethal. Lancaster Archery Supply. Redneck Bail Blinds. Sherlock Hunting Sights. Nocturnal Lighted Nocks. Fuse Hunting Accessories. And Yamaha ATVs and side-by-sides, Real World Tough.
The brand new Hoyt Nitro, first hunt with it.
That's my biggest buck with a bow. Big time, buddy.
Smoking, that heart beating on it. We just broke the new Nitro in, baby. And son of a gun, we just come in here and cook this cornbread.
Gonna put another buck in the truck with my new Hoyt Nitro.
Get serious, get Hoyt.
The future of concealment technology has arrived. Ridge Reaper Camo. Under Armour has spent the last few years developing this pinnacle camouflage system because concealment is, and always will be, a necessity in the field. Able to work at a variety of ranges and in multiple environments, the pattern utilizes two key techniques. Coincidental disruption uses irregular shapes and angles to obscure the hunter's silhouette against a multitude of environments, giving prey little to no chance of identifying the hunter's shape or position. The second technique the pattern employs is a unique no-background color algorithm. By utilizing contextual color theory and a variety of gradation, the pattern creates a complex illusion of depth, as well as conforming to the wide range of tints, tones, and shades present in the field. These techniques create a one-of-a-kind pattern that changes the game in concealment technology. Go where you don't belong.
Sometimes when you're bear hunting, it's all about timing, and even if you do everything right to get into position, if you happen to just get there even seconds too late and the bear is done feeding for that short amount of time, then he ends up leaving the field. So here's a couple situations where although I was in position, I was just a little bit too late. After having several hunts there where I was just so close to sealing the deal, but it didn't happen, on this evening I was absolutely positive that I was finally going to get the break that I needed. I had two awesome bears in front of me, so really all I needed to do was make the decision whether to shoot the good brown one or the awesome big black one. At this point in my mind, they were 40 yards and I had called checkmate. I was ready to make the shot, but as luck would have it, luck was not on my side once again.
Dead center.
One thing that you guys continually ask me through our social media sites is how to deal with buck fever and tournament pressure. And honestly, these are two things that go hand in hand, but they're also two things that dramatically help one another. If you remember, last year I made a comment on one of the episodes where I said, I'm a target archer to be a better bow hunter, and I'm a better bow hunter because I'm a target archer. And I can tell you that when I was a younger hunter, I missed a tremendous amount of opportunities and missed shots and missed great animals because I wasn't able to deal with that buck fever. So I took the step to go and start shooting 3D competitions so that I could learn to battle those same types of nerves. Because I can tell you, when I've been on a line where one arrow means the difference between me winning a medal with my US team or not, or one arrow possibly winning $40,000, it's the same exact type of nerves as shooting a giant buck. But even if you're not at that level of competition, you can even just be in a club scene where you have to shoot on a line with people, shoot next to someone, or even being in a novelty shoot where there's something very small on the line and you have to make one shot. You're going to feel that same raise of heartbeat. You're going to hear your breathing a little bit louder. But the thing is, each and every time you put yourself in that situation, you're going to learn to deal with it better the next time that you need to. One thing that really helps me is having a positive thought confirmation. And I can tell you that my camera guys and guides that have been behind me have seen this exact look in my eye when I'm thinking about my positive thought confirmation. What I always think as soon as I see that animal present a shot and when I confirm the range, I want to be confident that I can make that shot. So as soon as I see that opportunity, immediately I think checkmate. The game's over. Sometimes the smallest positive thought like that will have the biggest results. So if you want to learn to deal with buck fever a little bit better, then get out, join a league, start shooting with more people at your local archery shop, and get out and go to some bigger tournaments. I can guarantee you that once you learn to deal with those in that type of element, then putting a giant whitetail on the ground is going to be super simple.
Expand your archery knowledge with Nock On Podcasts, the highest level of world-class archery information available on either iTunes or at knockon.podbean.com.
The Yamaha Viking, and introducing the all-new Viking 6. The hardest working, most off-road capable side-by-sides in America. Built for the hardest working people on earth. You.
The new Block Vault is the most technologically advanced archery target ever built. The four-sided shooting lets you shoot it close, long, precise, and real. Shoot field tips, broadheads, and expandables. Block Vault's high-density open-layered core and polyfusion design stops all high-speed bows and smaller diameter arrows with friction, not force. Block Vault. Get locked in.
After all those picture-perfect stalks that didn't work out, on this hunt I found myself face to face with one of the largest Bruins I had ever encountered up in BC. This bear was at least 400 pounds, and I knew that he was easily pushing the 7-foot mark nose to tail. However, nothing was in my favor. There was no way I could use the wind. It was completely wrong. I had no background cover because of the wind. There was no opportunity for the blocker since he was out in the middle of a field. The ground was so dry and crunchy that I couldn't even walk quietly with my sneaky feet or my socks. The only thing that I could do is be still every time that he looked at me. And this brings me up to a really important part of being a hunter, and that's learning to adapt and realize that there are times when you have to sway away from the things that work 99% of the time. And in those cases, I go to what I call rule number 6, and that's, if all else fails, break all the rules. There he is, baby. Yes. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Oh. So thankful. Thanks, Dusty. Stay tuned. Awesome BC bear. Well, here he is, everyone. Another awesome BC Bruin. I'm up here once again in Prince George, British Columbia with my good friends Bert and Dusty Fillion. I've got Dusty behind the camera. He's almost like a brother to me. I've been up here so many years hunting with these guys. And now Cody, all making this operation just absolutely ideal. It's 6 months before I can hunt another giant whitetail back in the Midwest, so I couldn't think of a better way to end those mid-season blues than to come up here, test yourself and your equipment on another giant big game animal. And this is a huge bear, probably pushing the 7-foot mark, nose to tail. Giant Bruin, and just, I can't say enough about this hunt. I love doing it every year simply because it's just, it tests you, and you know, once again, a big part of this show is you guys learning from my mistakes. I'm human just like everybody, and I make plenty of mistakes, but I learn from them, and I want you to learn from them as well. You know, this shot was a little bit further than what I wanted, but whenever I deal with spot and stalk situations, I always practice with my equipment at a longer distance in case I need to. I was comfortable with the situation. The bear had no idea I was there. I made a shot. It was a little bit far back, but once again, having a lighted knock confirmed exactly where I hit, and we played it smart. We gave him time, and here he is. Easy recovery, perfect blood trail. Came in, easy recovery. Learn from my mistakes, and you're going to be a better bow hunter, I promise you. Be sure to visit knockonarchery.com to see our entire line of Nock-On lifestyle clothing, as well as some awesome Nock-On gear and accessories that I personally take to the field myself. Enter promo code SHOWFAN and I'll include a free signed photo. Also remember that all US orders over 100 get free shipping. knockonarchery.com. For over 30 years, Lancaster Archery Supply has practiced the values of integrity, caring, and excellence to archery customers. Discover the largest online selection of bows, arrows, and archery accessories at lancasterarchery.com. Call on our archery experts for expert advice on all your archery needs. If you want the best service and gear, then visit Lancaster Archery Supply, America's largest archery-only supplier.
Lancaster Archery Supply.
He's the buck you've been after all season. You see him in the middle of the field every day. The problem is a stand isn't an option. What's a hunter to do? Get a redneck bail blind, that's what you do. The ultimate in stealth and concealment. The redneck bail blind features a sturdy metal frame, a hand-sewn water-resistant cover, and silent slide windows, all in a spacious blind that wildlife adapt to instantly, putting you in the heart of the action. The redneck bail blind, Problem solved. Register online to win your very own at redneckblinds.com.
Nocturnal lighted Nocks feature a linear string-activated switch for simple, fail-proof performance. Hidden deep within the Nock, the switch will not turn on or off until you need it to. The completely sealed weatherproof battery keeps the super bright LEDs lit for over 20 hours to make sure you always find your arrow and your game. Nocturnal lighted Nocks, switch on accuracy.
Nock and ready to rock.
In our last segment, we tied on our nocking points, so now we're ready to put on our D-loop. I'm a big fan of D-loops because, one, if traditionally you're used to hooking your release aid right to the string, a D-loop can really prevent that wear on the string itself. Also, D-loops are great because you can adjust the length of them when you tie them on, so that if you want to slightly alter your draw length, you can do that with this D-loop rather than having to adjust your cams or your bow. The other thing is, a D-loop is great for keeping your pull the exact same all the time because your string isn't spinning. It's always holding the string in the same spot as you draw back. So your peep sight really is going to stay in that same position if you have a high quality string. This is really an easy step, and one thing that I'd recommend you do for practice is simply go through these motions that I show you to actually learn how to tie these knots correctly with your loops, but just don't secure them down and actually burn the knot. By having about a 1 foot piece of material and just practicing on how to loop it through the correct way is a great way to learn how to do it right. So I'm going to go ahead and show you close up exactly how easy it is to put on a D-loop. Now to tie my D-loop, I'm going to go ahead and make a J just like this, and I'm going to put it on the back side of the string. I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to pull both of my tabs through this loop, just like this. I'm going to pull it tight as you can. Then you're going to want to take a pair of pliers and continue to pull this as tight as you can with that pair of pliers. Also, I try to pinch this down flat. Make sure you're against the top of the Nock, and again, pull it tight all the way. Then we're going to cut this. We're going to leave about a 1/4 inch, and we're going to fuzz this up without loosening it. Then we're going to take our lighter. We're going to go ahead and burn that down. And we're going to touch it and make a small ball just like that. Make sure that you don't burn your actual loop. Now we're going to take the remainder of this loop material, we're going to make a small loop and we're going to bring it to this side of the string. We're going to loop it underneath and then through the middle, just like this. And we're going to adjust this to about the length loop that we're going to want, which is about 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Then we're going to take this long piece, we're going to go over the back of the string, and we're going to go under the string, then back through the middle. Now we're going to take our pliers, we're going to tighten this again. We're going to cut it. We're going to fuzz it up. All right, as you can see, we've completely have our D-loop tied. So now we're all set with our knock and loop configuration So we're going to move on to the next step in the next segment of Knocked and Ready to Rock.